Hello, hello, my art-loving friends. Did you know Ohuhu released oil-based colored pencils? I was so excited to try them. Here they are. Here's the cover. Light fast, waterproof, all that stuff you read on the bottom, and a delightful selection of colors. Right now, they come in a set of 72, and we are going to give them a thorough try in this video. And they have beautiful packaging. I just love it. Swatch sheet as well. I am interrupting real quick because I'm going to do a very important update at the very end of this video about our beloved YouTube artist friend, Paint and Hiding. So please stay tuned to the end and watch that update. Thank you. Okay, enough of that. You can see these pencils come in 2 layers, and it's really neat because you can lay the lid flat and put the second layer on the lid, and you'll see that later. It also has this foam that just comes for packaging purposes. I don't think it's useful at all to keep in the box because it just gets in the way, but at least it kept the tip safe during the shipping process, so that is very good. They thought about that. The flats, each flat is pretty flimsy, but not too flimsy. You can still get the whole layer out just fine, and you can see here I'm about to lift it and put it on the lid. What you didn't see before this, but you'll see at the end of this video, is how I completely made a mess of it the first time. So luckily, due to editing, you get to see the professional version where everything worked perfectly, right? Look at that color selection. It's just beautiful. So in a previous art haul where I showed you my Christmas and birthday presents, I showed you this book, which I haven't shown you the cover here, but this is the 365 Days of Art book, and I wanted to go ahead and get this book started. So I am making, the first page just says fill in a pattern here, or something similar to that. I don't have the book in front of me, but I think you could probably zoom in and read that. It's tiny on my screen at the moment. So I am just putting a 2025 is awesome because I have a feeling 2025 will be awesome, at least for me, and I hope for you as well. And it was just a good introduction to using these pencils. Now I couldn't use these pattern triangles exactly as they were because it just didn't quite work out, but I did the best I could and I think it worked okay. So when I first started these pencils, I'm like, wow, they're pretty soft. I like this. It's not too bad. And I'm not using them like in the official way colored pencils can and should maybe be used, such as you do really light layers and lots of them, and then it all looks all professional and it's all fancy. No, I don't do that. I am just putting them in however I want. And basically I end up using these pencils in a way where I burnish them pretty quickly on in the process. However, not so much in this particular version, this page here. I'm a little bit more light-handed here, but I do go over the letters with another layer, so you will get to see that, and they layered beautifully, so that was great. At first I was thinking, oh yeah, these are soft, not as soft as Prismacolors, but they're nice and soft. And I just thought starting out a page where it says that the year is awesome was just a good way to start the book too. This is a different blue than the first blue I used. And I hope that you can see it's layering very nicely. I was like, ooh, I like this layering thing. That makes it look way better. So you can layer. Well, I know this is only 2 layers and many colored pencil artists use way more than 2 layers, but hey, I was happy. It worked great with 2 layers, so let me have my happiness. And then ironically, prompt number 4 here is swatch stuff, and I was like, oh, I could have used this first, you know, with these pencils. Anyway, I decided to leave this in just so you could see the huge color selection. I think it's a pretty good color selection. You have some light, very pastel-like colors, and you have some darks, which is a good thing because if you colored at all, you know you need a variety of both to do a successful coloring. Well, at least it's easier if you have a variety of both light and dark to do a good coloring. A lot of the reds are pretty similar, although you can see a few differences there. pinks, purples, the whole gamut. It's quite nice. And I didn't mind working ahead on the prompt here. I may have filled in the other pages and just cut it out of this video, I'm not sure, but I didn't even receive this book until January 5th or 6th, so I had some things to catch up on. You can see the date I put up there says January 6th. Here I wanted to try my Polychromos colored pencils because they are the only other oil-based colored pencils I own, with the exception of the Derwent Light Fast, which I have not opened yet. But these ones are opened, ready to use. I don't even know where my Light Fast ones are. Actually, I do. They're in my drawer of I need to get to supplies. But anyway, I wanted to try these back to back with the Ohuhu colored pencils to directly compare them. So when I first started laying them down, I'm like, oh, wow, I'm having to press a lot harder. My hand hurts. They don't work all that great on this paper. And we know, if you've been around colored pencils a while, that people like the Polychromos because they are a little bit stiffer than some other pencils. However, do stay tuned because I use them again on a different paper surface later, and it's kind of a different story. So I find that very interesting. But you can see I am still layering with these pencils. That's working just fine. It's just I was having to press harder to get the color lay down that I wanted. I also only have the set of 12 plus one extra blue. You do probably see the extra brown over on the left once in a while too, but that is a repeat of one of the colors that already came in this set. So technically I have 13 colors in the Polychromos, but the prompt here was to color in this fruit bowl with colors that were not normal, give or take. I'm paraphrasing. Change your colors or something like that. Anyway, so that was fun, and then I repeated some of those fruit colors in the design on the bowl itself. I really like that this book, The 365 Days of Art, has some fairly easy prompts in the beginning because it really gets you going and it gets you excited. It's nothing too serious. And you might have seen the pencil sharpener that I'm using once in a while here. That is the Derwent pencil sharpener, and it works great as far as I can tell. I've used it for several years now. I don't use colored pencils very often, but I also sharpen regular pencils with it sometimes, and I like it so far. Now I did have to skip this next prompt, which you barely saw, because it was to, or maybe it was one after this. Anyway, fill in a city, and I didn't want to do that with colored pencils. I wanted to use a fine liner. So I'm doing this prompt number 6 here, which is to complete this school of colorful fish. And I didn't do very many. I did not find this very fun for some reason. Like, the little fish are cute and all, but I didn't find that interesting. So I put a couple in and that was it. I was really excited though about getting out this kitty coloring book. This is the coloring book that I have recently released. I love it. This is the cardstock version. There's also a watercolor version. I was really hoping this cardstock version would be great for colored pencils, but I realized doing this video, I had not actually tried colored pencils on it yet. So this is a good first try for colored pencils. And when I first used this blue, I was like, uh-oh, I'm not sure colored pencils are gonna work that great on this coloring book, but they do. They do. Some of these colored pencils are harder than others. In other words, we have some a little bit harder and some a little bit softer, and we have some in between, which is pretty typical with colored pencils for the most part. It just happened to be that the first blue I picked up was a little bit stiffer. So as I got into these other colors, I was like, oh, phew, thank goodness colored pencils do work in this book. I was about to have a heart attack, but I was like, wait, don't have a heart attack yet. Maybe Prismacolors would work. But anyway, right when I switched to the other blue, I was like, okay, that's good. Now this gets interesting here. I used my very, very, very old Prismacolor alcohol-based colorless blender, and I haven't used it in a lot of years, and it left a purple streak immediately on my coloring book, because you can see the nib of it is completely contaminated with purple from a previous project. So please do check the tips of your colorless blenders before using them on your beautiful artwork to make sure they are not contaminated with a different color. So I figured I would try and blend that out, but it did not work. So I ignored it for now, but I will fix it later, and I fix it in a fun little way and continue going over this. Now, I mentioned I have not used this colorless blender in a very long time, probably years. So the alcohol in it is pretty minimal. I need to refill it. However, it did still kind of blend my colors together, just not quite as much as I was hoping. To fix that purple oops, I pulled out a purple colored pencil, and I'm just creating another mountain in the background. Now this mountain is a little darker than I would have wanted to put that far back, but that's okay. You can see here I've grabbed my Tombow Fudenosuke pen liner. I'm going to call it a fine liner, and put an outline on it so that it looks like the rest of the drawing, and that worked great. Looks like it's supposed to be there, doesn't it? I think so, except for that it's darker than some of these other mountains, but I decided to just go with it. It's fine. I decided to brave the colorless blender again. I think I give up on it a little bit later. I just need more alcohol in it, and I didn't want to do that at this time. I was having too much fun to go leave and find my alcohol and refill a marker, but you can see I'm layering here. I really wanted that purple colored background, but a little bit darker, so I put a gray over the top of lavender basically, and just creating darker and darker mountains and adding a little bit of green in as I come to the front, and these pencils all worked great for that. Now I'm a little particular when it comes to greens, and I would have liked more of a sap green, although the green that I put right next to the purple mountain is pretty sap green, but when you're using it in the studio, it kind of feels very olive-like. So yeah, I think one more green in there would make me a happy camper, but I may do. You just have to put some yellow behind it or something. It's not a big deal. You can see how bright that yellow is. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, so beautiful. And then I decide to do the rainbow. You can see how easily that color is filling in the slots there. And I am pushing very hard here. I am burnishing basically right from the start because that is how I wanted this to look. This is a beautiful red. I can't quite remember which red this is, but maybe we can see it as I rotate the pencil. Maybe before I started the time lapse, huh? Here's a very nice orange. There are two pretty decent oranges in this set, plus the reds, which you could layer over the top, or yellows under the bottom, or whatever, just to get slightly different varieties of oranges. But the two oranges that come in the set are very good on their own. And here I'm trying to find like a true green, a real green, like, I don't know, what you would think of as a classic green. And this one's a little bit brighter than what I might think of as a classic green, but I really liked it, and I thought it was perfect for the rainbow. So many of you may not know this, but I actually started my YouTube art career thinking I would be a colored pencil artist. But I quickly discovered that I have a passion for watercolor and only a fun interest in colored pencils, and that's why you see mostly watercolor on my channel. Oh, hold up, this is important. I put this pencil sharpener on my cardstock coloring book. It has rubber feet on it. Guess what? Rubber feet soak in dirt and grime. So when I pulled the pencil sharpener off, I left 4 little round feety marks on my drawing. So do not put your pencil sharpener on your artwork. Put it on your desk or somewhere, scrap piece of paper, anywhere but on your artwork. It took me a minute to figure out what had happened. I thought maybe it was my palm putting marks on there, but I realized it was way too regular for that. It was exactly in 4 corners. So yeah, it was the pencil sharpener. It only took me a minute to figure that out. And you can see I am no longer putting the pencil sharpener on my artwork. I'm putting it on the desk instead. And here I layered the kitty with a different color behind, and later on I don't. I just use regular color, and I regret that because he ends up too dark. But that's okay. Lesson learned. That's when I go back to using the Polychromos again, and I only have those 13 colors. I should have layered a yellow behind him, but I'll talk about that when we get to it. But you can see here the black in this set. It may be, I think it's the black, yeah, not a dark brown, layered over those 2 layers of color very easily. So that's good. That's 3 layers on that kitty. Now I would love to know what an artist like Aliona Nicholson thinks of these colored pencils, although she is a Prismacolor premier artist almost exclusively, at least she was when I was following her work. It's been a long time, but I would still love to know what someone who uses colored pencils all the time thinks of them. So since I just finished this with the Ohuhu, you guessed it, I am going back directly into the Faber-Castell Polychromos so that I can compare them with the Ohuhu fresh in my mind. Now remember, in the 365 Days of Art book, I was not impressed with these pencils. They hurt my hand. I had to press really hard to get any color to come out. And what you saw me doing there was, I've been keeping those in the tin all this time, and I just am tired of it now. So I'm just going to put them in the case in the elastic bands like they're supposed to be once I finish with this drawing. And that way I don't have to open the tin every time. I can just open the zipper case and they'll be right there. So I put a little post-it in the tin and put it on my shelf saying, these pencils are in a little zipper case. So I do have my coloring book still for sale on my website. That'll be linked in the description box below, and I'll pop a little screenshot up of the website address here for you. So if you would like to get one, you can. Just so you know, though, I am out of state until February 12th, I think. So I would ship it when I get back that week. So you would probably have it shipped by February 15th. So if you don't mind the delay in shipping, feel free to head over to the website and order one if you would like one. They're fun. I really, really, really have fun with them. They are my creation though, so I had darn well better have fun with them, right? So it was right here using this yellow that I was like, oh, interesting. These pencils feel absolutely delightful on this paper. Interesting, interesting. So whatever the paper is in the 365 Days of Art book, these pencils don't like very well. This cardstock paper, these pencils seem to like very well. And you can see how nice of a color payout I'm getting with that blue. And when I bring this yellow back over, oh my goodness, look at that. And they layer beautifully. So I, at this point, was like, I think these Polychromos and these Ohuhus are very similar. In fact, I wondered, I wasn't sure, I just couldn't quite tell enough if the Polychromos actually felt softer than the Ohuhu on this particular paper. Obviously, in the other book, it was the opposite. But they're either the same or maybe softer. I'm not sure. They were both delightful to work with. That's all I know. And I'm so grateful, with the exception of that one blue I started with. I do wish I had more than the 12 colors. I'm not going to buy them though. I use colored pencils sometimes, but not all the time. Not enough to make it worth me investing in a couple more. Although I guess if I bought them open stock, maybe I could get a few extra colors just to fill out this 24 case that I have them in right now, this little zipper case from Global Art. That might not be a bad idea. So perhaps I'll put some open stock Polychromos on my wish list for this coming Christmas or birthday. Yeah, that would be a good thing to probably pick up. I wouldn't mind some lighter, more pastel-like colors, and maybe could really use a different green, like a sap green. I just love my sap greens. A light blue would be good. A dark blue like indigo would be great. A light yellow, because this yellow is pretty, well, it can be light if you don't press hard. It can also be really deep. But this drawing all finished. You can see how dark my kitty head got. I have him wearing pants in this one, but you can see fur on his head, and I should have layered the yellow underneath. But oh well. So here is the one with the Ohuhu colored pencils. Very fun, very fun. And then again, the one with the Polychromos 12 set. Well, 13 set, because I got that one pencil, those 2 pencils in that subscription box, but one's a repeat, as I mentioned. So if you were on the fence about getting these brand new Ohuhu colored pencils, I hope this video has been helpful. I think they're great. I am glad I have them. I'm going to keep them in my collection because, as you saw, I do not have very many oil-based colored pencils. I also hope this inspires you to get out your coloring and get some color on the paper. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I will leave links to everything down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now. Okay, so some of us have known that V over at Paint and Hiding, I'm not sure if you follow her channel, but she's just really sweet, down to earth, very knowledgeable, and her videos are so professionally done. I just love them. However, she hasn't posted in a while because Thailand had some natural disasters, and I don't know all the details. I don't keep up on it as well as I should probably. However, it has come to our attention that she's in trouble. So I don't know what all we can do, but I have started a GoFundMe. I don't even know if she will accept any money from a GoFundMe, but I want to try. I want to try and help her in some way. I saw a post where she's selling all of her art supplies, all of them. And it just breaks my heart. So please, if you have $1 to give, $5 to give, whatever you can give in the GoFundMe, please check out that link in the description box below. I'll also put it up on the screen here. Again, I have no idea if she'll even accept money from us through a GoFundMe. So if for some reason she doesn't, I will find a way to refund your money. I'm thinking she would accept it if it's given in good faith from all of us. So please check the link out. We'll get that money over to her. I'll leave it open for a couple of weeks. Well, I could leave it open indefinitely and just keep giving the money to her, but I have to find a way to get it to her, and I have a feeling that that would work out because it needs to, right? It needs to. So let's support V over at Paint and Hiding and share the GoFundMe and spread the word if you don't mind, please. She needs help and we need to help her. Thank you.